And let's talk about the magic of branding and why it is so important in a world of search engines and huge, huge platforms that seem to dominate the space. What's your take on branding? What's the advice that you will give to clients or really anyone looking for a better way to do things?
When we look at branding, what it really is to me is it's the personality of the company. It's the focus of the company. You know, if you were to consider branding the same as a first impression as a person, if you were two people walking down the street and you noticed this person, you may not have any context for them or even what it is that they do specifically, but because you notice them and you notice those specific things, that could represent their brand. And that's the same thing that you want to see with a business, both visually and in their communication. And that's where it ties into these bigger platforms, is in their communication, right? So for Google, if you have your branding locked in a particular way, you're sending signals to Google that you're a real company doing real things and that you're actually meaningful in your space.
As you come across business owners and or marketers that you're coaching, what are some of the most common kind of mistakes that you see people making that could be easy, kind of like quick wins?
So it sort of depends in the context of the business owner, what type of business it is. But I'll give you an example right now. There's a business I'm working with that is doubling down on really putting all of their eggs in the basket of building the brand before they even know if people want to take the offer, right? They're building their company around this whole thing, and they don't have the data really to say, hey, this is actually the service and the tool that people are going to want and actually want to pay money for. And the theory is like, well, people won't buy this if we don't have all the brand put in place. And the opposite is actually true when you're talking about proving the offer initially. So in this particular context, my advice has been, and it would be to anybody, to work on what's called a minimum viable funnel or minimum viable offer, and put an offer out there, because really what you're doing with all business is a function of solving people's problems, right? So if we present something that solves a problem, that's going to be attractive to a certain percentage of the marketplace without a brand in place at all, right? We can say, like there's an old analogy that I think is perfect for this. And it's like, sometimes the best way to sell a horse is just to put up a sign that says horse for sale.
Now, Josh, do you work with clients who both provide a product and clients that provide a service? And I'm wondering if competitive pricing has a greater effect on one or on the other. What's been your experience?
Price is certainly a consideration. The bigger thing that I see the impact on that, though, is the ability for the person selling it to sell it, right? Because marketing leads to a sale, right? So like if we take commonly, marketing is going to account for about 75% of getting somebody over the hurdle, and sales will be the other 25%. Like if good marketing is in place, that's a typical ratio that you would see. So if I can get somebody to their door, but no matter what the price, if the person just can't close the deal, that's where I see the biggest struggle with price stuff come in. You certainly have, in every marketplace, you have those different pricing barriers, and there's certain commonalities or stereotypes within the people that generally want a lower price. They tend to act and have a different mentality than the people who are comfortable with a fair and even sometimes high price, understanding the value of the service that way. Really, the difference is the ability for the person to communicate that value properly.
I've seen this multiple times over the years. So I'd like to know, A, have you seen it, and B, kind of what your stance has been and what kind of advice you've given. I've talked to small business owners, and it doesn't matter if they're attorneys, if they're plumbers, if they're carpet cleaners, all across the spectrum, that when you ask them what do they do, and what do they want to do when they're trying to market something, and you have a list that's this long, and you say, oh, what do you have? 5 trucks, 10 attorneys, something like that. No, it's just me. To get them to understand how to kind of condense things down, find a few things that they can do well, that are good kind of lead-ins to other services they can sell, so that they can have a realistic expectation and actually work with a marketing company that can actually help them and benefit them at a price point that's affordable. What's been your experience with something like that?
Business owners often are a different breed. They've got their own vision and their own, they've got these really big ideas and they want to accomplish them all. And it's part of what makes them amazing and also sometimes works to their detriment. So going back to data and saying, hey, you know, I would love to work on this other service that you're looking to offer. There's unfortunately just not enough awareness in the marketplace for people to really be looking for that right now. So what that tells me is we need to create a strategy where we can take somebody who is interested in a service that people do have a lot of awareness for, and then create a way for you to segue that conversation. And then I go back to other marketing principles if I don't have that data. And the marketing principles are ultimately the value ladder, right? Like, and the conversation might be something like, hey, do you ever wonder how come Best Buy can sell a DVD for like $5? If it, you know, that's kind of an old reference these days. Nobody's buying DVDs too much anymore, but you know, they can sell it for $5 and everybody else is selling them for 20. Well, it's because they know that if they get you in the store, that you're going to buy something else as well. So let's work on that concept in your business. How can we create an offer that gets people to talk about this quickly enough for you to position the next product that you really want to the next product you really want on up the scale to them becoming, you know, maybe a reoccurring monthly client or something like that.